Trump administration sex abuse scandal cover-up. I'm doing a continuing story about our labor secretary under Donald Trump, Lori Chavez DeRemer, and her husband, Sean DeRemer, who has been accused by two female staffers working in the Department of Labor of committing sex abuse against them. Those are the very same charges that a jury, a federal jury in New York, adjudged Donald Trump to be guilty of, related to E. Jean Carroll. So in any other administration, if they had allegations of sex abuse in-house, they would, of course, do things differently. They wouldn't be covering it up since December or January. But now we've got new reporting that the U.S. Attorney's Office, under the complete control of Donald Trump, and the D.C. office led by Jeannine Pirro, have concluded that they are not going to be conducting a criminal investigation, that they've seen the videotape that we have not yet seen of the interaction between the husband of the labor secretary and at least one staffer caught on tape, and that they are not going to be prosecuting that person, the labor secretary's husband, for any type of crime. How can we believe anything that Jeannine Pirro has to say? Her office is too busy going after the Federal Reserve chairman for cost overruns. And when she's not doing that, she's trying to convince a jury that 6 members of Congress, including 2 sitting senators, somehow committed some sort of crime because they told the American military that they needed to follow only constitutional orders. So I don't take any solace from Jeannine Pirro saying, I don't see a sexual abuse crime here. Similarly, the Federal Protective Service, which reports to the Department of Homeland Security, and Kristy Noem, also apparently cleared the doctor of any charge. But we know Kristy Noem herself has her own sexual misconduct allegations swirling around her, with relationship between her and Corey Lewandowski, who used to work for Donald Trump, now in her office, and about whether they're having an extramarital affair. I'm Michael Popok. You're welcome to Monday on Legal AF. Monday in America, Trump's America. Sex abuse that gets swept under the rug, scandals that don't get pursued. The person in the highest office being adjudged a sex abuser in New York. The Department of Homeland Security head having what appears to be, at least on allegation, some sort of affair on the company dime, on the taxpayer dole. Let's unpack this story. Lori Chavez DeRemer is currently the subject of at least 2 investigations related to misconduct. One by the Office of Inspector General for the Labor Department based on a complaint. It's already led to at least 2 staffers to be dismissed or administratively put on leave. And some of the allegations in that investigation include whether there's a secret stash of booze, alcohol, in the Department of Labor that the secretary and others enjoy, whether she took members of her staff and others to a strip club during a visit to a factory, and whether she's having some sort of affair outside of her marriage. What is going on at the Department of Labor in all these allegations? This appears to be, at least as alleged, some sort of free-for-all, some sort of perverted circus for the pleasure of the Department of Labor secretary and her husband. The second investigation is being led by Chuck Grassley, the 92-year-old Republican who heads the Senate Judiciary Committee, and he wants to get to the bottom, has made a demand on Lori Chavez DeRemer as well about the allegations that the Inspector General is looking into. And all the while, we just have yet another example, Exhibit A, B, and C, of the Trump Department of Justice completely captured by him. I mean, when you have an adjudged sex abuser, somebody who was accused of, according to a federal judge, technically raping E. Jean Carroll back in the 1990s in a dressing room at a department store in New York, directly across the street from his apartment, when you have that person, Trump, as the leader of the administration, of course, other allegations of sexual abuse committed by people in his administration or those that they're married to roll off him like water off a duck's back. And similarly, therefore, the organization rots from the head. The fish rots from the head. And so you take it down to Jeannine Pirro, Donald Trump's political hack of a supporter running the the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. She said, I saw the video and I'm not going to be pursuing any criminal prosecution. Right. The captured Department of Justice never sees sex abuse. Similarly, the Federal Protective Service, which sits under who? Kristy Noem and Homeland Security, has responsibility for providing protection within the four walls of a federal building. Oh, we got nothing to see here. Does that have anything to do with the fact that Kristy Noem is currently also being accused of having an inappropriate relationship outside her marriage? It's gotten so bad that Kristy Noem had to name drop her own husband during a social media post. Oh, I'm just seeing my husband off to a meeting at the airport. Good that you remembered who your husband was. I'm not sure that's quite the discussion you're having, according to other people, behind closed doors in a private jet with Corey Lewandowski. And then the Metro Police, they've concluded that, and the detective there, that a misdemeanor charge of sex abuse based on testimony by a staffer that I assume still works in the Department of Labor is not going to be sufficient for them to continue. This is another cover-up of epic proportion. The Metro Police are scared of Donald Trump because he took them over. If you remember, at the beginning of the term, before the National Guard was rolled out, he effectively took over the Metro Police and sidelined their chief. So of course they're going to be the tail the tail that's wagged by the dog of Donald Trump. Oh, we don't see anything here. We're not going after Lori Chavez DeRemer. In fact, Donald Trump's press secretary, who's never seen a scandal that she hasn't denied, she had this to say about Donald Trump's continued support for our labor secretary, who's making rounds around the country, visiting factories and talking about job creation that's not happening in the Trump administration, gross domestic product improvement that's not happening under the Trump administration, inflation that is rising under the Trump administration. I guess she's on some sort of whistle stop tour around the country as the labor secretary. And while doing so, she's getting the thumbs up from Carolyn Leavitt. So we'll continue to follow it all on Legal AF. I think the takeaway from this is that the Democrats' decision to run on a very simple contract with America for the midterms and beyond, that we're going to root out corruption, right? We're going to return ethics in government and, of course, focus on affordability. If they can just accomplish those two things, we're not corrupt and we will root out corruption, and especially from the Trump administration days. And we will provide and deliver on affordability to the American people through a better, healthier economy that works for all, that creates jobs, that creates gross domestic product, that reestablishes our global relationships around the world. If they can just run on that, we won't have sex abuse scandals. We won't continue to cover up the Epstein scandal. See, when the Democrats get back into office, this untrustworthy administration led by an adjudged sex abuser will finally get everything that's in the executive branch, not just the Department of Justice and FBI Epstein documents, but those that are currently reposited in the Internal Revenue Service or the Treasury Department and the rest. All of that. That's when Judgment Day comes, right? That's Liberation Day. That's midterms and beyond. In the meantime, stick with us here on Legal AF. You like the videos, I believe, based on the comments and the views, you enjoy the work we do and that of our contributors. Then take a minute and hit the subscribe button. Yes, it's important. No outside investors here. This is a magic trick. No wires. We need your support. Paid membership as well. Come over to Legal AF Substack and do the exact same thing. Those two engines keep Legal AF on the air. So until my next report, this is Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touches Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.